Still, here, Stories from the Dark, Episode 3, Memory Light. Welcome to Still Here, Stories from the Dark, a podcast for hearts holding on by a thread, and for those learning to breathe again after the storm. I'm Sylvester Mugabe, and this episode is called Memeory Light, because sometimes the way forward isn't through strength, but through remembering. This is about Bruno. He didn't walk fast anymore, not because his legs were tired, but because he had learned to honor the ground beneath him. Each step, a eulogy for who he once was. He passed the church where he once stood frozen in a tuxedo, hands shaking as he waited for her, the girl in white, the promise wrapped in lace and light. He remembered the scent of rain on the roof, and how her laughter cut through his fear like a hymn. The pain didn't disappear, but it bowed before the memory. Sometimes memory is a miracle. Let me tell you what I've learned. Not from books, but from breakdowns in benches, funeral homes and hospital waiting rooms, and quiet sobs in the shower at midnight. Memory is resurrection. Not of everything, but of something, the part of you that pain tried to bury. Do you remember when children sat around dinner tables, with no phones, just forks, questions, and belly laughs? When schools had chalkboards, not lockdown drills? When teachers were giants, and we believed them when they said we'd be more than this? When neighbors knew your name, not just your Wi-Fi password? When you had a body that didn't hurt, knees that danced, eyes that dreamed, and no pills on the nightstand? When your dad used to whistle in the morning, and your mom wore her favorite dress? Even when there was no occasion? Before the phone, before the feeds, before everything became instant and lonely at the same time. Do you remember? Because buried in those memories isn't just nostalgia, it's evidence. That joy once bloomed in your chest like wildflowers, and it can again. Let's unearth them. The first time you held your child, not the moment of birth, but the night they finally slept on your chest, breathing in sync, as if your heartbeat was home. The day you arrived in America, suitcase in one hand, hope in the other. You walked streets you'd only seen in dreams. The time you drove 5 hours to a tiny village in Jinja, where the people had no power, but their joy lit the night brighter than any light bulb. The laughter of a lover, now gone, and how you still hear it. When the wind blows just right. The moment your name was called at graduation, not because of the degree, but because you weren't supposed to make it that far. Memory is not weakness. It's proof that you've lived. Remember what was good. What if healing isn't in the next podcast, or book, or Instagram post, but in what you already carry? Find it. The first Bible you ever held, the mixtape you made when you were 14, the recipe your grandmother wrote in faded ink, the sneakers you wore the day you danced like no one was watching, the sound of your child saying dada or mama, the dress you wore the night he said you're the one. That's your memory light, not a portal to escape the now, but a lantern to help you walk through it. A listener wrote me this week and said, I went through an old box and found my childhood lunchbox. It still smelled like peanut butter and hope. For a moment, I remembered the girl I was before the world made me feel like I had to shrink to be loved. I cried, not from sadness, but from the relief of meeting myself again. Sometimes the path back to yourself isn't paved with success or healing quotes, but with a smell, a sound, a moment you thought was gone. Sometimes you go back in order to go forward. This week, I challenge you with tenderness. Find your memory light, something that once made your soul stand up straight. Dig out that old journal, visit your childhood neighborhood, call someone who knew you before you broke. Eat the food your mother made when life felt safe. Close your eyes and dance to that song again. Yes, that one. And if it hurts, let it. That pain means your heart still works. But if it brings light, even a flicker, let it remind you, you're not just what you've survived. You're also what you've remembered. If the memories bring more darkness than light, please don't walk alone. Call a friend, call someone. Your life is not disposable. Your memories are not meaningless. They're your evidence that you were and are real. This has been Still Here, Stories from the Dark, with me, Sylvester Mugabe. Next time we'll talk about the shift, those holy quiet moments where healing moves, like a whisper in the soul. Until then, let your memory be your map. Let your past remind you, you were never just pain. You were joy once, and you still carry the seed of that joy. Please stay. We need your memory. We need your future. We need you. You're still here, and the world is better because of it.